So your next title reign, your fourth one, came at a very weird time in WWF because Shawn Michaels is champion. He won it from Sid at the '97 Royal Rumble, and then he loses his smile. Oh, it happens to people. You lose your smile, and so he lost his smile. So the 4-way at the pay-per-view with you, Undertaker, Vader, and Austin was for the title, and it was just like a one-night reign. But what was the plan there? Like, what was the idea for you to win the belt for a night and then drop it to Sid?
It was just to throw a left hook, like a left swerve to what people thought was going to happen. I mean, I don't think Shawn ever lost. Like, he may have lost his smile somewhere, but I never thought, and I still don't, that Shawn was injured. Like, for a guy that supposedly had a crippling knee end, like his knee was injured so bad that he had to end his career. That's the way it was presented to me and to you. And I remember going, bullshit. Because I was supposed to wrestle Shawn at WrestleMania 13 in a rematch. That's what I was told in the summer. Everything was leading into me wrestling Shawn, and my understanding was that I was going to win the title from Shawn at WrestleMania 13. And then I would drop it to Shawn later on, like a year later or 6 months later, I'd drop it back to Shawn. And then we would actually pair up as partners. And I would never shake Shawn's hand, but in the third match that we would have had, I would have shook Shawn's hand and endorsed him as champion kind of thing. And then we would have done stuff like where Shawn was in jeopardy and I would run in and save Shawn and help him. And same with Shawn would start running in to save me, and we become friends and bond as buddies kind of thing. That was kind of laid out roughly in the summer of that prior to coming back. And, it never happened. When Shawn, out of nowhere, said he had lost his smile and suddenly had a bad knee. I remember Shawn doing a backflip, standing backflip off the top corner post the week before actually a few days before, he wrestled me in Madison Square Garden, and we had such a good match in Madison Square Garden, and he did a standing backflip off the top corner, and I remember, like, there was nothing wrong with his knee when he did that, but he shows up 5 days later and he's got this knee-ending injury, and he forfeits the belt, and he's crying in the ring. And I remember I didn't buy any of it. I thought, this is the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. So it's just his way of not dropping the belt to me, which just to me reeked of unprofessionalism. And so when he lost his smile and went away, they came up with the fatal 4-way, and that was with 4 guys in the ring. And I'll be honest, like, when I had taken that time off after dropping the belt to Shawn at WrestleMania 12, I took, for the first time in my life, I think 6 straight months off. And when I came back and wrestled Steve Austin at Survivor Series and started working full time again, I was so beat up and so sore. Like, after a couple of weeks of it, I felt like I got caned. Every part of my body hurt. And suddenly, from being home and relaxing, and suddenly 6 months later, you're getting body slammed again and thrown into turnbuckles. It was really hard for me to get back into the groove again. You have to actually start to get beat up all over again, so that your pain is everywhere rather than one spot. And so I would say I was very, although I had some good matches, like when I wrestled Sid at one of the pay-per-views, and I had a few other guys I wrestled. I had some good matches, but I started to kind of get my groove, or I started kind of turning into the old hitman, I was starting to feel my old self again, right around the time they had that fatal 4-way with Vader and Stone Cold and Undertaker. And one of the things about that match that people don't know is that Steve Austin was, he had like 103 fever or something like that. He was really sick. He hurt all over. Everything hurt. And you just touched him with your finger, it hurt. Like, he was in a lot of pain, and then had the chills and stuff. And he went out in that match, and I can remember I tried to be as delicate with Steve as I could, but I've been off for a little while, and I was kind of starting to really kind of hit my stride again. And I remember I came back after that match and I said to Steve, like, "You okay?" And he's like, he was so, because you killed me out there. Like thought you were trying to kill me. And I was always like, until you've wrestled with the flu or being sick, you have to know how much. I always admired Steve for that, and I've always loved Steve and his personality and the way we worked together. But I loved that match. I thought it was a great match, and I didn't really, I didn't have any problem dropping the belt the next day to Sid and doing the storyline the way. I thought it was an interesting swerve, and I thought the fact that I won the belt for the 4th time was just enough of a feather in my cap to give me some credibility for a while. And I didn't necessarily need the belt, but it was nice to say I'd won it the 4th time. And then when they took it away, I didn't have a big problem with that. If anything, I thought it was a good swerve. Like nobody saw it coming, including me.